Thank you to all our NHS heroes. Welcome. We're live. We live in times that will long be remembered. Quarantine agers will tell their grandchildren how the nation is forging together by staying apart. State welfare mechanisms have been built in days, providing wealth support for millions, but not everyone. There are some substantial holes. I've been working to ask questions and get you the information needed. Yet while I strive for 100% accuracy, as things are constantly developing, I do ask for some wriggle room. Today, we'll cover the new help for overdrafts, credit and store cards. I've got more on who can and can't furlough, and I've got some good news for some of you. And I'll take your questions, perhaps from those with limited companies, the self-employed, if you've got flight refund worries and more. Anyway, let's get on with it. Jelly.
OK, and also a bit of normality. The tax year ends on Sunday, and Martin's got tips that can generate hundreds or even thousands of pounds. Now, before that, we want to answer as many of your questions as possible. You can tweet using the hashtag Martin Lewis or email martinlewis@itv.com, and we'll try and take examples of the big themes as we cannot answer them all. But before we do those questions, Martin, Can you just hit us with the big news of the day? OK, so this all happened first thing this morning. The regulator, the financial regulator, the FCA, proposed that banks should, as a minimum, offer the first £500 of approved overdrafts at 0%. Now, we have seen some of them doing this, but this would get rid of that banking postcode lottery, if you like. And because next week that new 40% APR across the board that they were all doing is coming in, they've said no one should be paying more on that than they were doing before. So that's a total good. The next one is they've said banks and lenders should allow payment freezes on credit and store cards, loans and catalogue debts. Now, while that is useful, some of those are very high interest. So if you don't pay for a few months, the interest is still charged and it will rack up more quickly. So that is good in an emergency, but you should only do it in an emergency. If you can afford to keep paying on those things, do. It's the last-ditch bit of cash flow that would give you. Now, they have said they should ensure also none of this will affect your credit score. That's easy. But this is a consultation. That consultation ends on Monday, and then it should be imposed on Thursday when they do very quick consultations like this. Usually it's really just a tick-box exercise and not much will change. So I'd expect all that to happen or to start to be in place a week from today. Jenny. OK, we've had loads of questions in already. Let's answer this one from Stuart. Will skipping payments on credit cards during this time affect 0% interest periods? I asked and didn't get a straight answer. Can you give me an answer? I can. So this is about this new scheme that we've just had up there. Now, what it says is if you take a credit card payment holiday or a loan or a store card or a catalogue payment holiday, there should be no penalties or charges for doing so. But they haven't specifically mentioned 0% periods. And, of course, if you miss a payment during a 0% period, you often lose that 0%. Now, for me, it's implicit that that shouldn't happen, but it needs to be explicit. And that's a very, very clever question. I'll tell you why, because it was the first thing I thought of when I read it. And the consultation, I've already fed into the consultation asking them to make that an explicit rule. So I hope that will be one of the rules next Thursday. Brilliant. Thank you, Stuart. Now, we've got plenty of people on the line. Let's go straight to Joy from Lancashire. Hello, Joy.
Hi.
Oh, she's there. Hello, Joy. What can I do for you?
So I actually left a job on the 17th of March and I was due to start a new job on the 24th. And obviously due to everything that didn't start. But I followed your advice from last week's show and you said to contact my old employer, which I have done. But they've come back and actually said that it's a no, and that's based on the fact that I wasn't made redundant and that I wasn't on unpaid sick leave. Right. So I just wondered if you could advise me.
You're right. Last week I did say the guidance states that if you've been made redundant, and you were on their payroll on the 28th of February, weren't you? That's the key date.
I was, yeah.
If you've been made redundant, absolutely, after the 28th of February, they can rehire you and then furlough you. And I said last week, the same applies if you left your job to go to a new job that then didn't happen due to the coronavirus, and that due to the coronavirus is key. The problem is, while I'd had it confirmed to me, I didn't have it officially confirmed and didn't have the guidance and didn't have it in writing. But I can give you some joy. About an hour ago, I finally got the confirmation I've been pushing for in writing from the government, officially from the government, and they are going to change the guidance ASAP, which I hope will be tomorrow, so you can go to your employer with that. I tweeted it earlier. It's on Twitter right now if you want it. You can take that government statement and say, it is legal, you can re-employ me, I am not working due to coronavirus and therefore you can re-employ me. A bit of joy for joy. I hope it works. Employers don't have to do this, but at least we've got rid of one of the barriers that stops them doing it. Now it's their choice. They might not do it, but they can't use the excuse that, no, it's not allowed. Good luck.
Okay, thank you.
Pleasure.
Oh, thank you, Joy.
Quite
As
pleased
always,
about that one. It's been a lot of hard work to get there. So.
no, you've done a great job. Brilliant. As always, Martin's got this week's Need to Knows.
Ooh, yes. Change gear. Right. First of all, if your flight has been cancelled, then provided it was an EU-regulated flight under EU Regulation 261/2004, which is any flight leaving a UK or EU airport or any flight arriving into an EU or UK airport, provided in that case it's an EU airline, then if your flight is cancelled, you are entitled by law to a refund, not vouchers. However, lots of people have been getting in touch with me saying when they've been told of their cancellation, they go to various airlines' websites and all it does is offer you vouchers. So look, they're making you jump through hoops because the airline industry is under threat. And if you can take vouchers, it'll help the airline. But if you want the cash, call them up. Now, again, I know you'll be going, you're saying call them up, but I've been on hold for ages and I can't get through to them. You're right, it's very difficult. And they are making it difficult at the moment. So keep trying. If that doesn't work, the other thing I would try is if you paid on a debit or credit card, go to your card provider and say, I paid for a service I haven't received. I would like you to do a chargeback from that provider to get your money back. Legally, you are entitled to a full refund. It's enforcing that legal right that's a problem. Next, nothing to do with coronavirus. This is about the end of the tax year that ends on Sunday. You need to claim the marriage tax allowance now. 2 million of you are eligible and aren't claiming, or you'll lose 212 quid. Here's how it works. You need to be married or in a civil partnership. One of you is a non-taxpayer, the other's a taxpayer. The non-taxpayer can this year give 1,250 quid of their tax-free allowance to the taxpayer, which means they save 20% on that money. That's 250 quid. But here's the big bit. You can back claim this for 4 tax years. In fact, to the year it started. But that 4th tax year disappears on Sunday. And that 4 tax years ago, assuming you're eligible, is 212 quid. The total amount you get is 1,150. So get onto gov.uk. The non-taxpayer must claim it. A non-taxpayer with a basic rate taxpayer, do it. It's over £1,000 of free cash. People need that now. Well, the LISA allowance is also for this year closing too. So if you're a first-time buyer, you'd fill that up this year and you get more next year. And my final tip, I threw in an extra one there. Final tip. Last week I said 5 major lenders will let you apply for a mortgage holiday online. Now it's 10, which is the vast majority of them. You can apply online to not pay your mortgage for 3 months. Just like with credit cards, the interest will stack up. But let me give you some basic maths here. You've got 20 years left on your mortgage. You're currently paying £700 a month. If you miss paying for 3 months with an organised payment holiday, don't just cancel your direct debits, you need approval. That £700 figure afterwards will go up to about 712 quid. £12 a month extra to have 3 months payment holiday, absolutely worth it. Though the nearer you are to the end of your mortgage and the higher the interest rate, the more of an impact it'll have. Ooh, jelly.
Oh, take a breath and a drink. OK, Simon from Buckinghamshire, I hope you're watching because you emailed in. I'm going to read it now. I'm trying to work out what my furlough payment is and how to claim it, as I am on 0 hours contract. How do I do this?
OK, so 0 hours contract, what counts is whose payroll you were on that key date, the 28th of February, the day before Leap Day. Now, last week we didn't have this guidance. They've confirmed the guidance this week. For those who have irregular income and were working on PAYE, you get the higher of what you earned in the same months last year, if you were there, so for March, the year before, or the average monthly income you made over the year, and it would be this tax year, but right now that's the last 12 months. Unless you were there for shorter, in which case it's the average monthly income over that time. So if last March was good, you want last March's. If last March wasn't as good as you normally get, you want the average. And that is how you now dictate it.
OK.
Did that make sense?
Did.
Good, OK.
Good, you're on fire, you're on fire. Donna in Stockport, I have a limited company with no employees and pay myself a salary and no dividends, OK? Can I be furloughed? OK.
So this is one of those holes that the Chancellor has said they are not giving people dividends who have limited companies, even if you're the only employee of your limited company. But you've got some PAYE and some dividends. You are allowed to furlough yourself, put yourself on standby and get 80% of that salary up to £2,500 a month. The problem with that is you then can't work for your limited company. And that is an issue. You are allowed to do the minimum statutory obligations as a director. So if you have no work coming in, furlough yourself. If you have some work coming in, well, it just depends on that issue between your PAYE income and your dividend income. I can see some of the cameramen nodding here, camera people, I should say, sorry, nodding here. Is that the situation you guys are in? Yeah, OK, including this camera that I'm talking to right now. Thank you. So I've just had an idea, and you shouldn't do this on live television, but I'm going to come up with an idea. Something else I was talking about the other day for general employees is employees are allowed to work for another firm, not their own firm, as long as their contract allows it when they're on furlough. I can't see any reason why that doesn't apply to sole employees of limited companies where you're the director. So if you're a camera operator, you can't work for your own limited company if you furlough yourself, but you could probably go and be freelance and work for somebody else as a freelancer while you're furloughing yourself for your own company. I need to double check that, but it is an idea worth thinking about. I'll come back to you on it another time. But I shouldn't have ideas on air like that, but there we go.
You've got so many ideas, but let's do a quick tweet before we go to the break. This is from Natalie. OK, she says, my parents are in high-risk category and can't go out. Can't get through on phone, RE gas top-up meter. Can anyone help me?
Well, I'm very sorry to hear about that. Look, some of the gas companies are putting in situations where when you call them, they will post you a top-up card. But not all of them are doing so, in which case you may need a neighbour to go out and do it, and you're going to top up more if you possibly can. I don't know where in the country you are. Contact your local support if they're trapped away because they're vulnerable. Someone should be able to do that top-up. It's one of those times. Hopefully the energy company helps. If not, we've got to be good neighbours in these days, guys. We've got to help each other. We've got to ask our older, vulnerable neighbours, knock on their door, don't go in and talk to them. Do you need any help? Is there anything I can do for you? So hopefully someone will tap that meter up.
Yeah, Natalie, hope you get that sorted. Now, coming up, more of Martin's need-to-knows and, of course, your questions. Don't go anywhere.